Hi everyone, welcome back for part 2 of the polar bear coloured pencil drawing tutorial. Today we're going to be drawing in his left paw and working a bit more on his face and drawing in his nose as well. So let's get started. So we're going to start with his left paw, and I'm using the Faber Castell Warm Grey number 2. And I'm going to rub out the pencil lines that I've sketched in first. And then I'm just drawing lightly over the line I've just rubbed out using the Faber Castell pencil. I'm just sketching in the top part of the paw as this part is quite light. And I'm just using this light coloured pencil to draw in a guideline of where the fur pattern goes and where the darker parts of the fur will appear. So I'm using loose lines and going in really lightly with this pencil. I'm just going to continue rubbing out all the graphite pencil marks I made and going back in and sketching with the Faber Castell coloured pencil. And I'm just picking out all the details that I can see in the paw, and this will give me a great guideline for when I'm adding more layers and more colours into the paw. and as I've reached the end of the pour, I'm just making that clear to myself and to see where the ice starts by using the Caran steel grey pencil. I'm just lightly sketching in a little hint of blue so that I know where the pour ends and the ice starts. Now I've got the Caran Brown Ochre 10% pencil, and I'm using that to sketch in on the pour where the warmer, more yellowy colours I can see in the photograph. So I'm making sure to colour in the direction of the fur pattern that I drew in with the warm grey pencil. I've gone over the area of the pour with this pencil and captured all the warmer colours that I can see. Now I'm going to switch over to the Faber Castell Sky Blue pencil, and I'm going to go in and pick out all the blue cool tones that I can see in the pour now. So at the top edge of this pour is really blue. And again, I'm just going in the direction of the fur at all times. Now I've got the Caran Naples Ochre pencil, and I'm going to go in and pick out all the really yellowy tones that I can see. So starting off around the face, and this pencil is really quite a bright yellow, so you don't need to use a lot of pressure, but this helps to build up the tone of the fur. And you can see the pour really is quite a dark yellowy green, especially on this inner corner. So I'm using this pencil to build up the first layer of yellow, and I'll go back in and I'll make it gradually darker. Now I've got the Faber Castell Nougat pencil, and with this pencil I'm using it to start drawing in the shadows you can see in the fur. So I'm using fine lines and holding the pencil quite close to the end to have a lot of control. And I'm drawing in where I can see in the reference photo that there are darker lines of shadow in the fur. You can see around the ends of his paws where his toes are, it's quite dark, so I'm just starting to build up with this pencil where those shadows actually are before going in and making them darker. Now I've got the Green Ochre Caran pencil, and this is going to be really great for building up the greeny yellow colour you see in the pour. Now this is quite a heavily pigmented pencil, so go in gradually to start with and build up the layers as you go. Most of this colour is concentrated towards the inner corner of the pour, but there is the odd dash of this colour towards the outer edge, so I'm going to make sure I add a few little lines on the outer edge of the pour, and this helps it all tie together. Now I'm using the Faber Castell Indanthrene blue, and I'm using this to draw in the darkest shadows I can see, mainly around the toes. And I'm also going in and going over some of the lines we made with the Nougat pencil, just to add a bit of variation in the depth of the shadows. Now I'm using the deep cobalt green Faber Castell pencil, and again I'm just going in and picking out a few areas that I can see in the photograph that just look a little greener to me. I've got the Caput mortuum Faber Castell pencil, and I'm just going to go over the little areas of his toes and do a few more details throughout the paw. And we're really just building up a nice layer of colour before we go in and blend it all together. Now I've got the black pencil, and I'm just using this to go over the absolute darkest shadows that I can see. Now with the Caran raw umber 10%, I'm going to go in and use this mid-tone to blend the layer of pencil we've just put down. So everything just looks a bit more blended together and there's no harsh lines and edges. You can see now how the lines of individual colour have blended out really nicely, and the pour is starting to take on a lot more realistic look. Now I'm going to get the white Caran pencil, and this is really good for going in and just picking out the highlights in the fur. I'm also making sure to clean off the pencil as I go, as it does pick up the darker colours and it ends up looking a bit murky if you don't keep cleaning it off, and this helps you get the crisp white lines. I'm using the Faber Castell Bistre pencil, and I'm going to start now to really darken the shadow to the inner corner of the paw. And I'm using the Caran Green Ochre pencil again, just to add another layer of this quite vibrant yellow colour. Now I've got the Caran Olive Brown 10%, and I'm using this to gently blend the yellow marks I've just made, just so they're a bit less harsh. And I'm using the warm grey number 4 Faber Castell pencil to draw in a couple more shadows in the fur. So now we've finished up with the paw, I'm going to start on the nose and mouth area. And again, I'm just going to rub out the pencil marks I've sketched out before going in with the coloured pencils. I'm going to start off with the Faber Castell Warm Grey number 4 pencil. I'm going to go and sketch in the lines that I've just rubbed out, and as this area is a bit darker, I've chosen to use this darker pencil to start off with. I'm making sure to pay really close attention to the direction of the fur because it does change quite a lot in this area. Now I've got the Faber Castell Cold Grey No. 4 pencil, and I'm going to use this to draw in where the cooler parts of fur are. And I'm also going to use this pencil to start to sketch in the details of the nose and where the edges are and where the darker parts will be. Now I'm using the Faber Castell Indanthrene Blue, and I'm going to pick out from the reference photo all the darkest areas I can see, and I'm going to create a light layer with the blue before I'll blend it out with a darker colour or a black where it's the most dark. For the nose area, it does look mostly like a dark blob, but if you look really closely, there are areas where it is sort of pure black, and then it's slightly greyer, slightly lighter. So I'm really focusing on adding the blue to where it is the darkest part, and that will help create depth when we're building up the layers. Now I'm just adding a little hint of colour using the deep cobalt green Faber Castell pencil. Now I've got the Caran light cobalt blue. I'm going to use this to start blending in the lighter areas of the nose. And I'm also using it to add the bluish tint around the bottom of the mouth. Then the Naples Ochre Caran pencil. There is just a little hint of yellow on the right side of his nose. So I'm using this to make sure that doesn't get lost as I'm building up the layers. And I'm just extending that out towards the right side of the face. Now I've got my black Faber Castell pencil and I'm using that to start adding the dark shadows into this area. So I am using different varieties of pressure as I'm drawing with the black, and I'm focusing the hardest pressure on where we used the blue pencil originally, and then I'm using a lighter pressure over the rest of the nose to get that variation between really dark and dark. So now I'm happy with what the nose is looking like. I'm going to go back in with the same black pencil and I'm going to do another layer here, but I'm going to make it much darker. I'm going to use more pressure as I start to make the final layer here. Now to make it even darker and add more depth, I'm using the Blue Denim's Caran pencil, and this is just another layer of blue to put on before blending out with black over the top. And you can see the nose is really starting to take shape now. Using the dark sepia Faber Castell pencil now, and I'm going over the darker parts and just using circular motions to build up the colour of the nose. I'm just going to go over the highlights of the nose again using the light cobalt blue Caran pencil. And using the deep cobalt green Faber Castell pencil again, I just want to make sure all the colours are coming through. Now I'm using the Prussian blue Faber Castell pencil, and this is just me being quite picky with the blue colour that's coming through at the top here. And finally, I'm going back in with the black Faber Castell pencil, and I'm making sure the areas of the nose are really crisp. Now I'm using the Caran white pencil just to pick out those tiny highlights and make sure they're really white against the black. And I'm just finishing up the fur around the nose as well. And the final touch is using the Faber Castell Green Gold pencil, and this is a really bright colour, and I'm going over the yellow highlight on the right of his nose, just making sure that pops out. And I can see there's a little bit of red as well in this area. So I'm using the Faber Castell Deep Red pencil, and I'm just really going over the black lines that are already there, just to give a little hint of red in this area. So that's the end of part 2 of this drawing tutorial. I really hope you've enjoyed drawing along with me, and make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on part 3. If you have any questions, just pop a comment below and I'll get back to you. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in part 3.